A luxurious wedding in Dubai unites an Arab millionaire with an alluring woman, but the joy is short-lived. The next morning, the groom's body is found, and the mystery turns joy into chaos. The scorching Dubai sun beat down on Olivia's pale skin as she stepped out of the air-conditioned taxi. She blinked, momentarily dazed by the sheer opulence of the Burj Al Arab Hotel looming before her. This gleaming sail-shaped building was a far cry from the modest structures of her small Midwestern hometown. "Miss, your luggage?" The driver's accented voice snapped her back to reality. "Oh, right. Thank you," Olivia mumbled, fumbling for her wallet. As she handed over a few colorful bills, she silently hoped she wasn't over-tipping. Everything about this trip was so far out of her comfort zone. With her suitcase in tow, Olivia made her way into the hotel lobby, her sandals clicking against the polished marble floor. The interior was even more impressive than the exterior, with its soaring atrium and gold leaf decor. She felt small and out of place in her simple sundress and ponytail. "Olivia, there you are!" a familiar voice called out. Her cousin Sophia rushed towards her, resplendent in a designer dress that probably cost more than Olivia's entire wardrobe. "Sophia! Oh my God, look at you!" Olivia exclaimed, embracing her cousin. "You look amazing." Sophia beamed, her perfectly manicured hands clasping Olivia's. "I'm so glad you made it. How was your flight?" "Long," Olivia admitted with a laugh, "but worth it to be here for your big day." As they chatted, Olivia couldn't help but marvel at how different their lives had become. Growing up, she and Sophia had been inseparable during family gatherings, but while Olivia had stayed in their hometown to help run her parents' bookstore, Sophia had jetted off to New York, climbing the corporate ladder and eventually meeting Ahmed, her soon-to-be husband, and one of Dubai's most eligible bachelors. "Come on, let's get you settled in your room," Sophia said, linking her arm through Olivia's. "The welcome dinner is in a few hours, and I want you to meet everyone." The elevator ride to Olivia's floor was a spectacle in itself, with panoramic views of the Arabian Gulf. Olivia's room turned out to be larger than her entire apartment back home, complete with a personal butler. "Sophia, I can't even find the words," Olivia breathed, taking in the luxurious surroundings. Sophia smiled knowingly. "I felt the same way when I first came here, but trust me, you'll get used to it. Now, get some rest and I'll see you at the dinner, okay?" Left alone, Olivia sank onto the plush, king-sized bed, her mind whirling. She reached for her phone, her fingers hovering over her boyfriend's number. Should she call Jason? He'd been less than thrilled about her making this trip, citing the expense and time away from work. But surely he'd want to know she'd arrived safely. Before she could decide, a notification popped up. It was a message from Jason. "Hope you landed okay. Don't forget about the bookstore inventory we need to do when you get back." Olivia sighed, a familiar weight settling in her chest. Even from halfway across the world, Jason managed to make her feel guilty about taking this trip. She typed out a quick reply, assuring him she was fine and promising to handle the inventory as soon as she returned. As she prepared for the welcome dinner, Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. Maybe it was the extravagance of her surroundings, or the excitement of being in a new place, but for the first time in years, she felt a spark of something she couldn't quite name. Anticipation? Hope? The welcome dinner was held in a grand ballroom that looked like it had been plucked from a fairy tale. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting a warm glow over the gathering of beautiful people in designer clothes. Olivia tugged self-consciously at her dress, suddenly aware of how out of place she felt. "Olivia!" Sophia waved her over to a group near the center of the room. "Come meet Ahmed and his family." Taking a deep breath, Olivia made her way through the crowd. Ahmed turned out to be a tall, handsome man with kind eyes and a warm smile. He greeted Olivia like family, immediately putting her at ease. "And this," Ahmed said, gesturing to a man standing slightly apart from the group, "is my cousin Zayn." Olivia's eyes met Zayn's, and for a moment, the noise of the party faded away. He was strikingly handsome, with intense dark eyes that seemed to look right through her. Unlike the other guests in their flashy outfits, Zayn wore a simple, elegantly cut suit that spoke of quiet confidence. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Olivia," Zayn said, his voice a rich baritone that sent an unexpected shiver down her spine. "Likewise," Olivia managed to reply, hoping her voice sounded steadier than she felt. As the evening progressed, Olivia found herself drawn into conversation with Zayn. Unlike the other guests who seemed intent on discussing their latest luxury purchases or business deals, Zayn spoke passionately about his dreams of creating an educational foundation that would bridge the gap between tradition and modernity. Education is the key to understanding, Zayn explained, his eyes alight with enthusiasm. If we can teach the next generation to value both their heritage and the opportunities of the modern world, imagine the positive change we could create. Olivia nodded, captivated. That's amazing. Back home, I run a small bookstore with my parents. We always say that books are windows to other worlds, other perspectives. It sounds like your foundation would do something similar on a much larger scale. Zayn's smile widened. Exactly. You understand. So many people here. He gestured vaguely at the opulent surroundings. They're caught up in the glitter and gold. But there's so much more to life to this region than that. As they talked, Olivia felt a connection forming, a meeting of minds that both exhilarated and terrified her. She found herself sharing things she'd never told anyone, not even Jason. Her secret dreams of writing a novel, her fears that she was letting life pass her by in her small town. The hours flew by, and before Olivia knew it, the party was winding down. As guests began to leave, Zayn turned to her with a slight hesitation in his voice. Olivia, I know you're here for the wedding, but would you like to see a different side of Dubai? Away from all this? He gestured at the glittering ballroom. Olivia hesitated. She should be focusing on Sophia's wedding, on being a good guest. And what about Jason? But the spark of excitement she'd felt earlier flared into a flame. I'd love to, she heard herself say. As she made her way back to her room that night, Olivia's mind was a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The glitz and glamour of Dubai, the warmth of reuniting with Sophia, and the unexpected connection with Zayn all swirled together, making her question everything she thought she knew about herself and her life. Little did Olivia know as she drifted off to sleep in her luxurious hotel room that her agreement to explore Dubai with Zayn was the first step on a journey that would change her life forever. The coming days would bring joy, heartbreak, and challenges she could never have imagined, testing her in ways she never thought possible. But for now she slept, dreaming of dark eyes and passionate words, of a world beyond her small-town life, and of possibilities she had never dared to consider before. The early morning sun had barely touched the Dubai skyline when Olivia's phone buzzed with a message from Zayn. Ready to see the real Dubai? Meet me in the lobby in 30 minutes. Olivia's heart raced as she quickly got ready, opting for comfortable clothes and practical shoes. As she made her way to the lobby, a twinge of guilt nagged at her. She should be helping Sophia with wedding preparations, not gallivanting around the city with a man she'd just met. But the pull of adventure was too strong to resist. Zayn was waiting for her, looking effortlessly handsome in casual attire. Good morning, he greeted her with a warm smile. I hope you're ready for a day off the beaten path. Their first stop was the Al Fahidi Historical District, a stark contrast to the futuristic skyscrapers dominating Dubai's skyline. As they wandered through narrow alleyways lined with restored merchants' houses, Zayn shared stories of the area's rich history. This is where Dubai's story really begins, he explained, gesturing to the wind towers rising above the buildings. Before the oil, before the skyscrapers, this was the heart of the city. Olivia was fascinated. It's so different from what I imagined Dubai to be. Zayn nodded. That's why I wanted to show you this. There's so much more to Dubai than what meets the eye. As they explored, Olivia found herself opening up to Zayn in a way she never had with anyone before, not even Jason. She told him about her dreams of writing, her fears of being stuck in a life she didn't choose. Why don't you pursue writing? Zayn asked, genuinely curious. Olivia sighed. It's complicated. The bookstore has been in my family for generations. I can't just abandon it. But is that what you really want? Zayn's question hung in the air, unanswered. Their next stop was the Dubai Creek, where they boarded a traditional abra to cross the water. The gentle rocking of the boat and the bustle of the surrounding souks created a mesmerizing atmosphere. This is where the past and present of Dubai meet, Zayn said, pointing out modern buildings juxtaposed against traditional architecture. It's a constant balance between honoring our heritage and embracing the future. As they disembarked, Olivia's phone buzzed. It was a message from Jason. How's the wedding prep going? Don't forget about the inventory when you get back. Olivia's mood deflated slightly. She quickly typed a vague response and put her phone away, determined not to let it ruin the day. Zayn led her to the Golden Spice souks, where the air was thick with the scent of exotic spices and the glitter of gold in every direction. As they wandered through the narrow alleys, Zayn shared his vision for his educational foundation. "I want to create a place where young people can learn about their heritage while also preparing for the future," he explained passionately. "A place that bridges cultures and ideas." Olivia was captivated by his enthusiasm. "That sounds amazing, Zayn. But isn't it challenging to balance tradition with progress?" Zayn's eyes lit up at her question. "Absolutely. But that's what makes it exciting. It's about finding harmony between the old and the new, just like Dubai itself." As the day progressed, they visited hidden gems of the city, a small, family-owned restaurant serving traditional Emirati cuisine, a modern art gallery showcasing local talent, and finally a secluded spot in Ras Al Khor Wildlife Sanctuary to watch the sunset. Sitting on a bench overlooking the flamingo-dotted wetlands with the Dubai skyline in the distance, Olivia felt a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in years. "Thank you for today, Zayn. You've shown me a side of Dubai I never knew existed." Zayn turned to her, his expression serious. "Olivia, I know we've only just met, but I feel like I've known you for years. There's something special about you, something that goes beyond your beauty or your intelligence. It's your spirit, your openness to new experiences." Olivia's heart raced at his words. She felt the same connection, but the reality of her situation came crashing back. "Zayn, I have a boyfriend back home." Zayn nodded, a flicker of disappointment crossing his face. "I understand. But can I ask you something? Are you happy, truly happy with your life as it is?" The question hit Olivia like a thunderbolt. Was she happy? The automatic yes died on her lips as she really considered the question. Her life with Jason, running the bookstore, the predictable routine of her days. When was the last time any of it had made her truly happy? I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Zayn took her hand gently. "Olivia, life is too short for, I don't know. Sometimes we need to take risks to find our true path." As the last rays of sunlight painted the sky in vibrant hues, Olivia found herself at a crossroads. The safe, familiar life she'd always known suddenly seemed suffocating compared to the possibilities Zayn was offering. But could she really consider upending her entire life based on a connection forged in just one day? The ride back to the hotel was quiet, both lost in their thoughts. As they said goodbye in the lobby, Zayn hesitated for a moment. "Olivia, I know you're here for your cousin's wedding, but would you like to join me tomorrow? There's an event at my family's foundation that I think you'd find interesting." Olivia knew she should say no. She had promised to help Sophia with last-minute wedding details. But the pull towards Zayn, towards the world he was showing her, was undeniable. "I'd love to," she heard herself say. As she rode the elevator back to her room, Olivia's mind was a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The exhilaration of the day warred with guilt over neglecting her cousin and confusion about her feelings for Zayn. And underneath it all, a growing realization that the life she'd left behind in America might not be the one she truly wanted. Stepping into her opulent hotel room, Olivia caught sight of herself in the mirror. The woman looking back at her seemed different somehow, more alive, more vibrant. Was this the real Olivia, finally emerging after years of conforming to others' expectations? As she prepared for bed, Olivia's phone lit up with a message from Jason. "Hope you're not getting too comfortable in Dubai. Remember, real life is waiting back home." Staring at the message, Olivia felt a surge of rebellion. Who was to say what real life should be? For the first time in years, she felt truly alive, truly herself. Whatever happened next, she knew one thing for certain. Her journey in Dubai was far from over. It was, in fact, just beginning. Olivia woke early the next morning, her mind still buzzing from the previous day's adventures. As she got ready to meet Zayn, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was standing on the precipice of something life-changing. A gentle knock on her door startled her. Opening it, she found Sophia standing there, looking radiant but slightly concerned. "Olivia, are you okay?" "I barely saw you yesterday," Sophia said, stepping into the room. Guilt washed over Olivia. "I'm so sorry, Sophia. I got caught up exploring the city. I should have been helping you with the wedding preparations. Sophia waved her hand dismissively. Don't worry about it. The planners have everything under control, but I heard you were with Zayn yesterday? Olivia felt her cheeks flush. Yes, he showed me around the city, the real Dubai away from all the glitz and glamour. A knowing smile played on Sophia's lips. Zayn has that effect on people. Just be careful, okay? I know things aren't great with Jason, but how did you know about Jason? Olivia interrupted, surprised. Sophia sighed. Oh, come on, Liv. I might live halfway across the world, but I still know my cousin. You've never sounded truly happy when you talk about him, and now seeing you here, it's like you're coming alive again. Olivia sat down heavily on the bed. I don't know what to do, Sophia. Everything here feels so possible, like I'm finally waking up from a long sleep. Sophia sat beside her, taking her hand. Then maybe it's time to stay awake, Liv. Just promise me you'll think things through before making any big decisions, okay? Olivia nodded, grateful for her cousin's understanding. After Sophia left, Olivia finished getting ready, her mind whirling with possibilities and doubts. Zayn was waiting for her in the lobby, looking sharp in a well-tailored suit. Ready to see what my family's foundation is all about? He asked with a smile that made Olivia's heart skip a beat. The drive to the foundation's headquarters gave Olivia a new perspective on Dubai. They passed through neighborhoods that showed a different side of the city, areas where modernity blended seamlessly with tradition. The foundation's building was a marvel of contemporary architecture, all sleek lines and eco-friendly design. Inside, it was a hive of activity, with people from diverse backgrounds working together. Welcome to the Future Bridges Foundation, Zayn said proudly as they entered. This is where we're working to create educational programs that honor our past while preparing for the future. As Zayn gave her a tour, Olivia was amazed by the scope of their work. There were classrooms where traditional crafts were taught alongside coding workshops, and galleries showcasing both ancient artifacts and cutting-edge technology. This is incredible, Zayn, Olivia breathed, watching a group of young students engrossed in a virtual reality tour of ancient Arabia. You're really bridging worlds here. Zayn's eyes shone with passion. This is just the beginning. We're planning to expand, to reach more communities, to create exchange programs with schools around the world. As they talked, Olivia found herself sharing ideas, drawing on her experiences from the bookstore and her dreams of writing. Before she knew it, she was deeply engaged in a brainstorming session with Zayn and some of the Foundation's team members. So, Olivia, these ideas are fantastic, one of the program directors said. Have you ever considered working in education or cultural exchange? The question caught Olivia off guard. I've never really thought about it, she admitted. But as soon as the words left her mouth, she realized it wasn't entirely true. She had thought about it, dreamed about it even, but had always pushed those thoughts aside as impractical fantasies. The rest of the day flew by in a whirlwind of inspiration and possibility. Olivia found herself imagining what it would be like to be part of something like this, to make a real difference in the world. As the sun began to set, Zayn suggested they take a break on the building's rooftop garden. The view of Dubai from there was breathtaking, the city transforming into a glittering wonderland as night fell. What did you think? Zayn asked, handing Olivia a cup of traditional Arabic coffee. It's amazing, Zayn, what you're doing here. It's so important and inspiring. Olivia paused, gathering her courage. It made me think about my own life, about what I really want. Zayn turned to face her, his expression serious. And what is it that you want, Olivia? The question hung in the air between them, heavy with possibility. Olivia found herself stepping closer to Zayn, drawn by an irresistible force. I want, she began, her voice barely above a whisper. But before she could finish, her phone rang shrilly, breaking the moment. It was Jason. Olivia stepped back, feeling as if she'd been doused with cold water. I should take this, she said, her voice shaky. Zayn nodded, understanding in his eyes. Of course. Take your time. As Olivia walked to a quiet corner to answer the call, her mind was in turmoil. What had she been about to say? What had she been about to do? Hello, Jason, she answered, trying to keep her voice steady. Olivia, where have you been? I've been trying to reach you all day. Jason's irritated voice came through the speaker. Did you forget about our call to discuss the new book shipment? Olivia closed her eyes, feeling the weight of her old life pressing down on her. I'm sorry, Jason. I got caught up in wedding preparations. The lie tasted bitter on her tongue. As Jason launched into a detailed discussion about the bookstore, Olivia found her gaze drawn back to Zane. He was standing at the edge of the roof, his silhouette striking against the Dubai skyline. In that moment, he seemed to embody everything she'd been missing in her life: passion, purpose, possibility. Olivia? Are you even listening to me? Jason's voice cut through her thoughts. Yes, sorry, the connection's not great here, Olivia lied again. Can we talk about this when I get back? After ending the call, Olivia stood frozen, feeling torn between two worlds. The safe, familiar life she'd always known suddenly felt like a cage. But the alternative, the unknown, the risk, the potential for heartbreak was terrifying in its own way. As she walked back to Zane, Olivia knew she was approaching a crossroads. Whatever choice she made in the coming days would change the course of her life forever. The question was, did she have the courage to choose the path her heart was urging her to take? Zane turned to her, concern etched on his face. Is everything okay, Olivia? Taking a deep breath, Olivia made a decision. No, she said quietly, but I think it might be soon. As the lights of Dubai twinkled below them, Olivia felt a surge of excitement mixed with fear. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in years, she was eager to find out. The day of Sophia's wedding dawned bright and clear, the Dubai sky a perfect azure. Olivia stood in front of the mirror in her hotel room, adjusting her bridesmaid dress. Her reflection stared back at her, a mix of excitement and uncertainty in her eyes. The past few days had been a whirlwind of emotions and experiences. Her time with Zane had opened her eyes to possibilities she'd never dared to consider before. Yet as she prepared for her cousin's big day, a nagging sense of guilt tugged at her heart. She'd been so caught up in her own journey that she'd barely been present for Sophia's wedding preparations. A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. It was Sophia, radiant in her wedding gown. "Oh, Sophia," Olivia gasped, tears welling in her eyes. "You look absolutely beautiful." Sophia beamed, pulling Olivia into a tight hug. "Thank you, Liv, I'm so glad you're here." As they embraced, Olivia felt a surge of emotion. "Sophia, I'm so sorry I haven't been around much. I've been so caught up in..." Sophia cut her off with a gentle smile. "Liv, stop, I understand. Sometimes life throws us curveballs when we least expect it. And from what I've seen, this particular curveball might be exactly what you need." Olivia blinked in surprise. "What do you mean?" Sophia took Olivia's hands in hers. "I've known you my whole life, Liv, and I've never seen you as alive as you've been these past few days. Whatever's happening with Zane, it's bringing out the real you." Olivia felt tears threatening to spill. "But what about Jason? What about the bookstore? My whole life is back home." "Is it though?" Sophia asked gently. "Or is that just the life you thought you were supposed to have?" Before Olivia could respond, there was another knock at the door. It was time for the ceremony. The wedding was a lavish affair, a perfect blend of traditional Arabic customs and modern luxury. As Olivia walked down the aisle, her eyes met Zane's in the crowd. The intensity of his gaze made her heart race, and she nearly stumbled. Throughout the ceremony, Olivia found her attention divided. While part of her was fully present, rejoicing in her cousin's happiness, another part couldn't help but imagine what her own future might hold. Would she ever stand where Sophia was standing now? And if she did, who would be waiting for her at the end of the aisle? At the reception, Olivia was swept up in a sea of congratulations and small talk. She danced with distant relatives, laughed with old friends, and tried to push thoughts of Zane and her uncertain future to the back of her mind. But as the night wore on, she found herself gravitating towards him. They ended up on a quiet balcony overlooking the glittering Dubai skyline. "You look beautiful tonight," Zane said softly, his eyes never leaving hers. Olivia felt a blush creep up her cheeks. "Thank you. It's been such a magical day." "Olivia," Zane began, his voice serious, "I know we've only known each other for a short time, but I can't shake the feeling that there's something special between us, something real." Olivia's heart pounded in her chest. "I feel it too, Zane, but I'm scared. Everything's happening so fast, and I have a life back home." Zane took her hands in his. "I understand. But sometimes, Olivia, life presents us with opportunities that we can't ignore. I believe this is one of those moments." As they stood there, the sounds of the reception fading into the background. Olivia felt as if she were standing on the edge of a cliff. To step back would be to return to the safety of her known life. To step forward would be to leap into the unknown, with all its terrifying possibilities. Zane's next words shattered her reverie. "Olivia, I know this is sudden, but marry me." Olivia gasped, her mind reeling. "What? Zane, we barely know each other." "I know it sounds crazy," Zane said, his eyes blazing with intensity. "But I've never been more certain of anything in my life. You're the missing piece I've been searching for. Together we could build something amazing, make a real difference in the world." As Olivia stood there, shocked into silence, her phone buzzed in her clutch. It was a message from Jason. "Hope the wedding went well. Don't forget we need to finalize the store's budget when you get back." The contrast between Jason's mundane message and Zane's passionate proposal couldn't have been starker. In that moment, Olivia saw her two possible futures laid out before her: the safe, predictable life she'd always known, or a leap into the unknown with a man who made her feel more alive than she ever had before. "Zane, Olivia began, her voice trembling, but before she could continue, a commotion from inside the reception hall caught their attention. Sophia was calling for Olivia. It was time for the bouquet toss. As Olivia moved to rejoin the party, she turned back to Zayn. "I need time to think," she said softly. Zayn nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Of course. But Olivia, remember, sometimes the biggest risks lead to the greatest rewards." Rejoining the reception, Olivia's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. As she mechanically went through the motions of the bouquet toss, her heart was torn between two worlds, two futures. The bouquet sailed through the air, and almost without thinking, Olivia's hands reached out. As her fingers closed around the flowers, a hush fell over the crowd. Olivia looked down at the bouquet in her hands, then up at the sea of smiling faces around her. Her eyes found Zane's across the room, his gaze intense and full of promise. In that moment, holding the symbol of future marriage in her hands, Olivia realized that the choice she made wouldn't just be about Zane or Jason, Dubai or her hometown. It would be a choice about who she wanted to be, about the life she wanted to lead. As the night drew to a close and guests began to depart, Olivia found herself standing alone on the same balcony where Zane had proposed. The Dubai skyline glittered before her, a testament to the possibility of turning dreams into reality. She took out her phone, staring at Jason's message. With a deep breath, she began to type, "We need to talk when I get back. Things are changing, and I'm changing too." As she hit send, Olivia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in years, she was excited to find out. Whatever choice she made, she knew it would be on her own terms, guided by her heart and her newfound courage to embrace the unknown. The night air was warm on her skin as she turned back towards the reception, ready to say her goodbyes and face whatever tomorrow might bring. The crossroads lay before her, and the path she would choose was still uncertain. But one thing was clear: Olivia was no longer the same woman who had arrived in Dubai just days ago. She was stronger, braver, and ready to write her own story. The morning after the wedding, Olivia woke to the gentle ping of her phone. It was a message from Zane. "Meet me at the Miracle Garden in an hour. There's something I want to show you." Her heart raced as she quickly got ready. The events of the past few days swirled in her mind. The whirlwind tour of Dubai, the inspiring visit to Zane's foundation, and most of all, his unexpected proposal. She still hadn't given him an answer, and the weight of the decision pressed heavily on her. As her taxi wound through Dubai's streets, Olivia's phone buzzed again. This time it was Jason. "Hey, got your message. What's going on? You're coming home soon, right?" Olivia stared at the screen, her thumbs hovering over the keyboard. How could she explain the transformation she'd undergone in just a few short days? In the end, she simply replied, "We'll talk when I'm back." Things are complicated. The Miracle Garden was a riot of color and scent, with millions of flowers arranged in breathtaking designs. Olivia spotted Zane waiting by a heart-shaped arch of roses, looking both excited and nervous. "Olivia," he greeted her warmly, taking her hands in his. "Thank you for coming. I wanted to show you this place because, well, it's a bit like what I'm proposing. Something beautiful and unexpected, flourishing in an unlikely place." As they walked through the garden, Zayn spoke passionately about his vision for the future. He talked about expanding his foundation's work, about creating cultural bridges across the world, and about the role he hoped Olivia would play in all of it. "I know it's a lot to ask," Zayn said, stopping by a stunning butterfly-shaped flower arrangement, "but I believe that together we could create something truly extraordinary." Olivia's mind was spinning. Everything Zayn was saying resonated deeply with her own buried dreams and aspirations. But the practical part of her brain couldn't help but raise objections. "Zayn, this all sounds amazing, but what about my life back home, my family, the bookstore, Jason?" Zayn's expression grew serious. "Olivia, I would never ask you to completely abandon your past. Your experiences, your connections, they're part of what makes you who you are. But I'm asking you to consider a future where you can grow beyond the limitations you've set for yourself." As they continued their walk, Olivia found herself opening up about her fears and doubts. She talked about her sense of obligation to her family's bookstore, her comfortable but unfulfilling relationship with Jason, and her long-suppressed dreams of making a bigger impact on the world. Zayn listened attentively, offering support and understanding. "Olivia, I believe that the greatest regrets in life come not from the risks we take, but from the opportunities we let slip away." As they reached the center of the garden, where a massive floral clock marked the passage of time, Zayn turned to face Olivia. "I'm not asking you to have all the answers right now. I'm asking you to take a leap of faith. In yourself, in us, in the possibility of a life beyond anything you've imagined." Olivia's heart was pounding. She thought about her life back home, the familiar routines, the comfortable predictability, the sense of security. Then she thought about the past few days in Dubai, the excitement, the inspiration, the feeling of being truly alive. In that moment, standing amidst the beauty of the miracle garden, Olivia made her decision. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, "Yes, Zayn, I'll marry you." The joy on Zayn's face was radiant as he pulled her into a passionate embrace. As they kissed, surrounded by the vibrant colors of the garden, Olivia felt a sense of rightness wash over her. It was as if all the pieces of her life were finally falling into place. But even as she reveled in the moment, a small part of her brain reminded her of the challenges ahead. She still had to return home, face Jason and her family, and figure out how to transition her life from small-town America to cosmopolitan Dubai. As if reading her thoughts, Zayn pulled back slightly, his eyes serious. "I know this won't be easy, Olivia. There will be obstacles and we'll face them together. But I promise you every day will be an adventure." Olivia nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. "I know, and I'm ready for it. All of it." They spent the rest of the day planning and dreaming, talking about their shared vision for the future. Zayn spoke of expanding his foundation's work to include a literary component, merging Olivia's love of books with his passion for education. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the garden, Olivia's phone buzzed once more. It was Sophia. "Hey, cuz, how are you doing? Made any big decisions yet?" Olivia smiled, her heart full. She typed out a quick reply. "You could say that. Can we meet for coffee? I have some big news." That evening, as Olivia sat with Sophia in a quiet cafe, recounting the events of the day, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. Yes, there were challenges ahead. Yes, there would be difficult conversations and tough decisions to make, but for the first time in years, Olivia felt like she was on the right path, her path. As she held up her hand, showing Sophia the simple yet elegant engagement ring Zayn had given her, Olivia knew that her life would never be the same. She had taken a leap of faith, jumping headfirst into a future full of possibilities. The Dubai skyline glittered outside the cafe window, a testament to the power of dreams and the courage to pursue them. Olivia raised her coffee cup in a silent toast to the future, to love, to adventure, and to the incredible journey that lay ahead. Little did she know that this leap of faith was just the beginning. The coming days would bring challenges and revelations that would test her resolve and the strength of her newfound love, in ways she could never have imagined. The following days passed in a whirlwind of excitement and planning. Olivia and Zayn decided on a small, intimate ceremony to be held in just 2 weeks' time. The speed of it all was dizzying, but Olivia felt more alive than she had in years. However, Reality began to set in as Olivia prepared for her return trip to the States. She had to face Jason, her family, and the life she was leaving behind. The weight of these impending conversations hung heavy on her heart. The night before her flight, Zayn surprised her with a romantic dinner on a private yacht, cruising along Dubai's coastline. As they stood on the deck, the city's lights twinkling in the distance, Zayn wrapped his arms around her. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" he asked softly. Olivia leaned into his embrace, drawing strength from his presence. "As ready as I'll ever be. It won't be easy, but I know it's the right thing to do." Zayn kissed her temple gently. "Remember, I'm with you every step of the way, even if I can't be there physically. And in just a few days, we'll start our new life together." The flight back to her hometown felt like a journey between worlds. As the plane touched down, Olivia took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. Jason was waiting for her at the airport, his familiar face a stark reminder of the life she was leaving behind. As soon as she saw him, Olivia knew she couldn't delay the inevitable. "Jason, we need to talk," she said as they drove home. In the quiet of her parents' living room, Olivia broke the news. Jason's face cycled through shock, anger, and disbelief as she explained her whirlwind romance and impending marriage. "You can't be serious, Olivia," Jason sputtered. "How, you've known this guy for what, 2 weeks? This isn't you. You don't make rash decisions like this." Olivia felt a flicker of doubt, but pushed it aside. "That's just it, Jason. Maybe this is me. The real me. The me I've been too afraid to be all these years." The conversation was painful, filled with accusations and tears. But as difficult as it was, Olivia felt a sense of relief wash over her. She was finally being honest, with Jason and with herself. Breaking the news to her parents proved to be an even greater challenge. Their initial joy at her return quickly turned to confusion and concern as she revealed her plans. "Sweetheart, are you sure about this?" her mother asked, worry etched on her face. "It all seems so sudden." Her father was more direct. "What about the bookstore, Olivia? We were counting on you to take over." Olivia felt tears welling up in her eyes. "I know this is a shock, and I'm so sorry for disappointing you, but for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm on the right path. I've found someone who challenges me, who inspires me to be more than I ever thought I could be." As she spoke about Zayn and their plans for the future, Olivia could see her parents' expressions slowly shifting from concern to cautious understanding. "We just want you to be happy, sweetie," her mother said, pulling her into a tight hug. Her father nodded slowly. "It won't be easy, but if this is truly what you want, we'll support you." The next few days were a blur of activity. Olivia threw herself into organizing the bookstore's affairs, training her younger cousin to take over her responsibilities. She packed up her life, deciding what to take to her new home in Dubai and what to leave behind. Through it all, Zayn was a constant source of support, calling every day to check in and offer encouragement. His unwavering faith in their future together bolstered Olivia's resolve during moments of doubt. As her departure date approached, Olivia found herself standing in the bookstore late one night, running her hands along the familiar spines of books she'd grown up with. The scent of paper and ink brought back a flood of memories. For a moment, the enormity of what she was doing hit her full force. Was she really ready to leave all this behind? To start a new life in a foreign country with a man she'd known for such a short time? Just then her phone buzzed with a message from Zayn. "Thinking of you. Can't wait to start our adventure together." Olivia smiled, feeling her doubts melt away. Yes, she was leaving behind the familiar, but she was moving towards a future full of possibility and promise. On her last night in town, Olivia's friends threw her a surprise farewell party. As she looked around at the faces of those she'd known her whole life, she felt a bittersweet mix of sadness and excitement. Her best friend Sarah pulled her aside during the party. "Are you sure about this, Liv? It's not too late to change your mind." Olivia squeezed her friend's hand. "I'm sure, Sarah. I know it seems crazy, but sometimes you just know when something is right. This feels right." As the party wound down, Olivia found herself alone on the porch of her childhood home. She looked up at the stars, the same stars she'd gazed at countless times before. But now, they seemed to shine with new promise, beckoning her towards a future she'd never dared to imagine. Tomorrow she would board a plane back to Dubai, back to Zayn, and towards a new life. There would be challenges ahead, cultural differences to navigate and a whole new world to adapt to, but for the first time in her life, Olivia felt truly ready to embrace the unknown. As she turned to go back inside, Olivia whispered a quiet promise to herself and to the night sky. She would make the most of this opportunity, this leap of faith. She would build a life filled with love, purpose, and adventure. Little did she know that the greatest test of her resolve and her newfound love was yet to come. The journey ahead would be more challenging and revealing than she could ever have imagined. The Dubai skyline shimmered in the distance as Olivia's plane began its descent. Her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was it, the beginning of her new life with Zain. As she stepped into the arrivals hall, Olivia spotted Zain waiting for her, his face beaming with joy. He swept her into his arms, and for a moment, all her doubts and fears melted away. "Welcome home," Zain whispered, and Olivia felt a thrill at those simple words. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity. There were wedding preparations to finalize, cultural customs to learn, and a new city to navigate. Olivia threw herself into it all with enthusiasm, determined to embrace every aspect of her new life. Zain's family welcomed her warmly, especially his mother, Amira, who took Olivia under her wing. "You are part of our family now," Amira said, helping Olivia choose traditional outfits for various pre-wedding events. However, not everyone was as welcoming. Zain's older brother, Rashid, seemed distant and often watched Olivia with a guarded expression. When she mentioned this to Zain, he brushed it off. "Rashid's just protective of our family. He'll warm up to you in time." As the wedding day approached, Olivia found herself increasingly busy with the foundation work. Zain had given her a position overseeing a new literacy program, and she loved every minute of it. The work was challenging and rewarding, allowing her to combine her love of books with her desire to make a difference. One evening, as Olivia was working late at the foundation office, she overheard a heated conversation between Zain and Rashid in the hallway. "This is moving too fast, Zain." Rashid's voice was low and urgent. "You barely know her. Have you even told her about—" "That's enough, Rashid." Zain cut him off sharply. "I know what I'm doing. Olivia is exactly what this family and the foundation needs." The conversation ended abruptly as the brothers noticed Olivia's presence. Zain's face softened immediately as he turned to her. "Ready to go home, my love?" Olivia nodded, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling the overheard conversation had left her with. What hadn't Zain told her? The next day, during a final fitting for her wedding dress, Olivia confided in Sophia, who had flown in for the wedding. "I can't help feeling there's something Zain isn't telling me," she admitted. Sophia squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Every relationship has its secrets, Liv. The important thing is how you handle them together. If it's bothering you, talk to Zain." Taking her cousin's advice, Olivia decided to confront Zain that evening. They were having a quiet dinner on the balcony of their new apartment when she broached the subject. "Zain, is there something you're not telling me? Something about your family or the foundation?" Zain's expression flickered for a moment before he smiled reassuringly. "Olivia, my love, there's nothing for you to worry about. Every family and business has its complexities. I promise after the wedding, we'll sit down and I'll explain everything." Though not entirely satisfied, Olivia decided to trust Zain. After all, they were about to commit their lives to each other. The day before the wedding arrived, bringing with it a flurry of last-minute preparations. As Olivia was leaving a final meeting with the wedding planner, she bumped into Ahmed, Sophia's husband. "Olivia, just the person I wanted to see," Ahmed said, his usual cheerful demeanor somewhat subdued. "I was hoping we could talk for a moment." "About Zain?" Intrigued and a little worried, Olivia followed Ahmed to a quiet corner of the hotel lobby. "Olivia, I care about you like a sister now," Ahmed began, his voice low. "And as much as I respect Zain, I feel you should know there are rumors about some of the foundation's dealings. Nothing concrete, but—" Olivia felt her heart drop. "What kind of rumors?" Ahmed shook his head. "I don't know the details. Just be careful, okay? Make sure you know what you're getting into." Before Olivia could press for more information, they were interrupted by the arrival of Zain and Sophia. The moment passed, but Ahmed's warning lingered in Olivia's mind. That night, as Olivia tried to sleep in the luxurious hotel suite reserved for her last night as a single woman, her mind raced with questions and doubts. Was she making a mistake? Should she confront Zain again? Just as she was about to call Zayn, her phone buzzed with a message. It was from an unknown number. "If you want to know the truth about Zayn and the foundation, meet me at the Dubai Creek at 5 a.m. Come alone." Olivia stared at the message, her heart pounding. This was her last chance to uncover any secrets before tying her life to Zayn's forever. But meeting a stranger alone in the early hours of the morning was risky. As the night wore on, Olivia tossed and turned, torn between her love for Zayn and her need for the truth. Finally, as the first light of dawn began to creep across the sky, she made her decision. Slipping out of the hotel, Olivia hailed a taxi to Dubai Creek. As she approached the meeting point, she saw a figure standing in the shadows. Her heart raced as she drew closer, unsure of what revelations awaited her. The figure turned, and Olivia gasped in surprise. It was Rashid, Zayn's brother. "I'm glad you came," he said, his face grim. "There's something you need to know about Zayn and our family." As Rashid began to speak, Olivia felt her world tilting on its axis. Whatever he was about to reveal, she knew her life would never be the same again. The sun began to rise over Dubai Creek, casting long shadows across the water, much like the secrets that were about to be unveiled. The early morning light cast a golden glow over Dubai Creek as Rashid's words hung heavy in the air. Olivia listened, her heart pounding, as Zayn's brother revealed a tale that shook the very foundation of her new life. "The foundation isn't what you think it is," Rashid began, his voice low and urgent. "Yes, it does good work, but it's also a front for some of our family's less savory business dealings." Olivia felt her world spinning. "What kind of dealings?" Rashid sighed heavily. "Nothing illegal, but ethically questionable. We've been using the foundation to influence policy decisions, to sway business contracts in our favor. Zayn said he's been the mastermind behind it all." As Rashid continued, painting a picture of a family empire built on manipulation and backroom deals, Olivia felt her knees weaken. She sank onto a nearby bench, trying to reconcile this information with the Zayn she thought she knew. "But why are you telling me this now?" Olivia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Rashid's eyes met hers, filled with a mixture of guilt and resolve. "Because I can't stand by and watch you enter this family blindly, and because I think you might be the key to changing things." As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Rashid explained his hope that Olivia's influence might guide Zayn and the foundation towards a more ethical path. He believed that her outsider perspective and strong moral compass could be the catalyst for positive change. Olivia's mind raced. Could she do it? Could she marry Zayn, knowing what she now knew? Could she be the force for change that Rashid hoped for? As she made her way back to the hotel, Olivia felt as though she were walking through a dream. The glittering city around her seemed false somehow, a beautiful facade hiding ugly truths. Back in her room, Olivia paced, torn between her love for Zayn and her sense of right and wrong. She thought of the work they'd done together, the dreams they'd shared. Had it all been built on a lie? A gentle knock on her door startled her from her thoughts. It was Sophia coming to help her prepare for the wedding. One look at Olivia's face told Sophia something was terribly wrong. "Liv, what happened?" Sophia asked, guiding her cousin to sit on the bed. Through tears, Olivia recounted everything Rashid had told her. Sophia listened, her face a mixture of shock and concern. "Oh, Liv," Sophia said softly when Olivia finished. "What are you going to do?" Olivia shook her head, feeling lost. "I don't know. I love Zayn, but how can I marry him knowing all this?" Sophia took Olivia's hands in hers. "Liv, listen to me. You have a choice to make, and it's not an easy one. But remember why you fell in love with Zayn in the first place. People are complex, and sometimes good people make questionable choices. The question is, do you believe in Zayn's capacity for change?" As they sat there, the sounds of wedding preparations echoing from the hallway, Olivia knew she had to confront Zayn. She couldn't walk down the aisle with these doubts in her heart. With Sophia's encouragement, Olivia made her way to Zayn's suite. Her hand trembled as she knocked on the door. Zayn's face lit up when he saw her, then quickly turned to concern. "Olivia, what's wrong? It's bad luck to see the bride before the wedding." "We need to talk, Zayn," Olivia said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Now." In the privacy of Zayn's suite, Olivia laid out everything she had learned. She watched as Zayn's expression shifted from shock to shame to resignation. "It's all true," Zayn admitted, sinking into a chair. "I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid of losing you. I thought if I could just get through the wedding, I could gradually introduce you to the complexities of our business. Olivia felt a surge of anger. Complexities? Zayn, what you're doing is wrong. You're using a charitable foundation for personal gain. How could you? Zayn stood, moving towards her. Olivia, please understand, this is how things work here. The foundation does real good, but we have to play the game to stay on top. I thought with you by my side, we could start to change things. Make them better. Olivia stepped back, her mind whirling. I don't know if I can do this, Zayn. I don't know if I can be part of this. Zayn's eyes filled with tears. Please, Olivia, I love you. Together we can make things right. I'm willing to change, to do better. But I need you with me. As Olivia looked into Zayn's eyes, she saw genuine remorse and a flicker of the man she had fallen in love with. The man who wanted to make a difference in the world. I need time to think, Olivia said finally. The wedding, I don't know if we can go through with it today. Zayn nodded, understanding in his eyes. Take all the time you need. I'll postpone everything. Just please don't give up on us yet. As Olivia left Zayn's suite, she felt as though she was standing on the edge of a precipice. Behind her lay the safe, familiar world she had left behind. Ahead was an uncertain future with Zayn, full of challenges but also possibilities for real change. She made her way to the hotel's rooftop garden, needing space to think. As she looked out over the Dubai skyline, Olivia realized that this was more than a decision about her marriage. It was a choice about the kind of person she wanted to be, the kind of impact she wanted to have on the world. Could she be the force for change that both Rashid and Zayn believed her to be? Or was she compromising her values by even considering staying? As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, Olivia knew she had to make a decision. The choice she made now would shape not only her future, but potentially the future of the foundation and all the people it could help. With a deep breath, Olivia pulled out her phone. It was time to make a call that would determine the course of her life. The warm Dubai breeze ruffled Olivia's hair as she stood on the rooftop, phone in hand. Her finger hovered over Zayn's number as the weight of her decision pressed down on her. With a deep breath, she pressed call. Olivia? Zayn's voice was tinged with hope and fear. Zayn, I've made my decision, Olivia said, her voice steady despite the tumult in her heart. I'm staying. The silence on the other end was deafening until Zayn's relieved exhale broke it. Thank you, Olivia. I promise you won't regret this. But, Olivia continued, her tone firm, things need to change, starting now. Over the next hour, Olivia laid out her conditions. The foundation would undergo a complete overhaul, with full transparency in all its dealings. They would sever ties with any unethical business practices and focus solely on their charitable mission. Zayn listened intently, agreeing to each point. As the call ended, Olivia felt a mix of emotions, hope, determination, and a hint of trepidation. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but she was ready to face it. The next morning, instead of a lavish wedding, Olivia and Zayn held a press conference. Standing side by side, they announced the foundation's new direction, pledging complete transparency and a renewed focus on education and cultural exchange. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of activity. Olivia threw herself into restructuring the foundation, working long hours to ensure every aspect of their operation was above board. Zayn was by her side every step of the way, his dedication to change matching her own. It wasn't easy. There were moments of frustration, heated arguments, and sleepless nights. Some of Zayn's family members, accustomed to the old way of doing things, pushed back against the changes. But Olivia and Zayn stood firm, supported by Rashid and a growing team of like-minded individuals. 3 months after that fateful day on the rooftop, Olivia stood in front of a classroom in one of the foundation's new schools. As she looked at the eager faces of the students, a diverse group from various backgrounds, she felt a sense of purpose stronger than anything she'd ever experienced. Today, she began, her voice clear and confident, we're going to talk about the power of words and how they can bridge cultures. As she taught, Olivia realized that this connection, this ability to make a real difference, was what she had been searching for all along. It wasn't about the glitz and glamour of Dubai, or even about her relationship with Zayn. It was about finding her true calling. That evening, as Olivia and Zayn walked along the Dubai Creek hand in hand, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. "You know," Zayn said, breaking the comfortable silence, "I never thanked you properly." Olivia looked at him, puzzled. For what? For believing in me? For giving me, giving us a chance to do better? Zayn's eyes were filled with emotion. "You've changed everything, Olivia. Not just the foundation, but me." Olivia squeezed his hand. "We've changed together, Zayn, and we're just getting started." As they stood there watching the sun set over the water, Olivia reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. From the small-town bookstore to the heart of Dubai, from a life of comfortable routine to one of purpose and challenge. It hadn't been easy, and there were still obstacles to overcome, but she knew in her heart that she was exactly where she was meant to be. The next day, Olivia and Zayn finally had their wedding. It was a small, intimate affair, nothing like the extravagant event they had originally planned, but as they exchanged vows, surrounded by those who had supported them through their journey of change, Olivia knew it was perfect. As she looked into Zayn's eyes, Olivia saw not just the man she loved, but a partner in creating positive change in the world. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, guided by their shared vision and commitment to making a difference. Epilogue. 5 years later, Olivia stood on the stage of a grand auditorium, accepting an international award for the Foundation's groundbreaking work in education and cultural exchange. As she looked out at the audience, she saw familiar faces, Sophia and Ahmed beaming with pride, Rashid, now a key ally in their mission, her parents, who had come to understand and support her choice, and of course, Zayn, his eyes shining with love and admiration. "This award," Olivia said into the microphone, "is not just for me or for our foundation. It's for every person who believes in the power of education, understanding, and second chances. It's for those who dare to dream of a better world and are willing to work to make it a reality." As applause filled the auditorium, Olivia felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. The journey hadn't been easy, but every challenge, every obstacle overcome had led to this moment. She had found her purpose, her voice, and her place in the world. Looking out at the sea of faces, Olivia saw not just an audience, but a community of change-makers, each with their own story, their own journey. And in that moment, she knew that her story, the story of a small-town girl who took a leap of faith and found her true calling, could inspire others to do the same. As she left the stage hand in hand with Zayn, Olivia felt ready for whatever the future might hold. She had learned that life's greatest adventures often begin with a single step into the unknown, and that true love isn't just about romance, but about partnering to make the world a better place. The Dubai skyline glittered in the distance, a reminder of where her journey had begun. But for Olivia, it was no longer a symbol of opulence and excess. Instead, it represented possibility, transformation, and the power of believing in oneself and others. With a heart full of gratitude and a mind brimming with ideas for the future, Olivia stepped forward into the next chapter of her life, ready to continue making a difference, one story at a time.